Well, hello again, listeners to Radio Entrepreneurs, and more people than ever tuning in, telling their friends to tune in. And why? Because in this time of dramatic change, there are still more Americans working and staying in work and trying to find a formula to work with this new economy. I don't think we're going to go back to the old economy. So more people than ever are turning into radio entrepreneurs. And one of my favorite people to talk to about work is the person I'm going to introduce next, and that's David Gabor, partner at the Wagner Law Group. And why? Because a lot of people are wondering what to do with their staff, furloughing staff, letting go staff, bringing staff back. And there's a lot of issues going on in the marketplace. In the next few weeks, we're going to talk to David a couple of times about a lot of these different issues. So welcome, David. It's good that you look so healthy.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much. And thank you for giving me a chance to help a lot of people get ahead of what's going on and be proactive. One of the impacts of the COVID-19 is we've got a remote workforce. And we've got companies that are set up with employee manuals and contracts dealing with people working inside the brick and mortar location for the business. Problem is, when you have a remote workforce and your team isn't prepared for it, you run many risks. One of them is wage and hour. How are you tracking the time that your people are working? Do you have a system set up? Are you making sure that supervisors are working properly with the employees and not asking them to work before a scheduled work shift, after the end of the work shift, on the weekend? I've got an idea, I'm gonna reach out to somebody and talk to them, but it's off hours. Second thing is, when people are remote, we run into a big issue. I've got a person who works inside the company. We'll call the person Bridget. And Bridget supervises two people. Now she's remote. She's no longer supervising the people. Is she still exempt under the Fair Labor Standards Act? Chances are she's not. Now all of a sudden you've got a person who was exempt, who was working 50, 60 hours a week. She's still working 50, 60 hours a week. She's no longer exempt. You're not paying overtime. Those are a couple of risks that we run into. Had a situation with a couple of clients that have got employment contracts that don't anticipate a thing like a pandemic. To be honest, every one of you, none of us anticipated a pandemic. So you're furloughing people, you're letting people go, and they've got a contract that says they're making X amount of money per year, but now they're furloughed. No fault of their own, no fault of yours, you didn't provide for it. So what I'm going to ask people to do, take a look at your employment agreements, offer letters. Make sure that you are not exposed to any issues. If you've got people who were classified as exempt because of the fact that they're managing or supervising two or more people most of the time, take a close look and see whether or not those people are exempt or they're not exempt. Now, Jeff, you mentioned furloughs. It's also really important that before you let people go, you make sure that you don't have a disparate impact. It's really easy to say, I'm going to pick 15 people out of a workforce of, let's say, 150, and it's half female, half male. I'm picking 15 people to lay off right now because I'm concerned about their having to work or their productivity, or it's a random selection. But of those 15 people, 14 are female. Guess what? You can have a gender discrimination lawsuit waiting to happen. So take some time to make sure that if you're going to let people go, if you're going to reduce salary, that you're making sure that there's no disparate impact on any protected class. We've got gender, race, religion, ethnicity, national origin, age, and people with disabilities. So that's some of the things that right now have become problems that we're thinking about. And then there's another thing, your supervisors. And I've got a supervisor, really good guy, working. His name is Brandon. Brandon is going to reach out to his team. He used to do it in person. Now he's doing it by text message. He's doing it by email. He's putting in exclamation points, ... after messages. He's doing capital letters. He's cryptic. He's creating the invitation for confusion and misunderstanding. So what does he do? He's got to be trained to make sure that he's talking to his team. He's not just emailing, texting, he's talking. He's making sure that people are on the same page. He's talking about expectations of people on the team. You know, they're working remotely. They're not used to it. They're upset. They might have a family member who's sick, or their mother or father is living alone in a nursing home or assisted care facility. They're scared. They're not going to be working the same way they were. He's got to know how to reach them, communicate with them, set expectations that are realistic. Might be a little bit of training. Nobody wants to add on a level of training right now, but if you do it, you're going to avoid issues like a hostile work environment, possible, again, disparate treatment. Because keep in mind, one thing I can guarantee in a pandemic, with the economic downturn that we've had, if people lose their jobs, if people have a spouse or a significant other who's lost a job, if they're furloughed, if they're scared, they're going to go call the firm. And Jeff, you know the firm, Dewey, Cheatham and Howe. They're going to call and they're going to answer the phone. Dewey, Cheatham and Howe, may I help you? They're going to do that, and they're going to sue because they're scared.
And how? They'll take care of them all right, but they're really going to take care of themselves first.
Big time. So what we want to do is help the companies be proactive, not reactive, and get ahead of what's going on. Make sense?
Well, for me, it does make sense. And, I'm always in a discussion with clients saying to them, you can always find an attorney to write a letter or file something for anything that you want, but you want an attorney to file or write something or take your side for something that's right and how to do it right. And, you don't just fight if you're going to lose, and you got to do things right and do it the right way. And, the courts are going to get clogged with all the garbage, and, we got to do things right. And employers need to know the new rules. The rules are changing as we speak, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of the other things we can do to minimize that risk of employees going to an attorney is have meetings every week. In my firm, we do it. We have meetings once a week. We get everyone together and we talk and we bond and we connect with each other. That's something that employers can do. It's really easy. You could do it by phone. You could do it on Zoom or any other platform. Get your people together, talk to the people, see what's going on, tell them what you're trying to do. Be honest, be realistic. Don't sell a bill of goods or make a promise you cannot keep. That's the worst thing in the world. Don't promise if you can't keep the promise. But get your team together, communicate with your team, let them know you care. And the more you do that, the less likely it is that someone's going to run to an attorney.
Well, you and I are both with organizations. Hopefully I try to be an employer that's taking care of my people. I told my people day one, don't worry about anything. You're still working. And you're working for an employer that, even though she has, 7 or 8 offices, she treats everybody like they're part of the Wagner family and is keeping everybody busy. And it makes a difference, doesn't it, in terms of giving back to your employer, working hard right now too? It says it's about a motivational thing too.
You know what? If you eliminate fear from the equation, that's a good first step. And, Jeff, we did one of these programs a couple of years ago about sexual harassment. And one of the things we talked about back then was perception. What's the perception that employees have of the employer? And if the perception is they train on harassment prevention just to check a box versus they're training because they want it to be a great place to work, if it's the latter, and that's what the employees perceive, then they're going to feel much more motivated and engaged to work for this company. And now is that opportunity. You reach out, you don't have to, but you reach out and you let your employees know that you care and you're doing everything you can to keep everyone working and paid. And at that point, their perception is you give a dang, you care, I want to work there. And when people talk outside and employees talk to each other, hey, they care. So this is an opportunity to let people know, to message. And it's so easy now to do that. And it will make a difference, not just legally, reducing the risk of litigation, but your people are going to work harder and smarter. And by the way, that's the same brand message that goes out to your customer, your consumer, your client, because the employees are the face of the business. And if they're engaged, the customers will see it too.
I know, David, so much appreciate speaking with you. And as a management consultant, it's critical for me right now to make sure my clients are working, they're keeping people working, but they're always wondering about their staff and what to do with their staff. And your voice is so important right now. So, we already asked you if you're going to come back again. You said you would. You were going to talk about some of these other issues. You look great. You look healthy. That's wonderful in this environment. You must be exercising too. But if somebody wants to speak to David Gabor, get rid of the middleman, Jeffrey Davis. Go right to David Gabor. Get his advice about how to handle their staff. How do they find you?
Well, my phone right now, direct dial reaches out to my smartphone, 617-532-8035. Call me anytime you want, 617-532-8035. And Jeff, I want to talk in the future two things. One is the risk in litigation. Second thing is I want to talk about when we're ready to get our teams back to work. What can we do to do it the right way?
Well, I'll give you a third-party reference without using a name. There's an attorney outside your firm that we both know well. And whenever that person and I have a discussion about labor issues, he always says to me, Jeff, do you want to call David Gabor or should I?
I can't understand people sometimes, but hey, what the heck?
So we're going to keep talking to David Gabor on Radio Entrepreneurs. So thanks, David, and continue to stay healthy. Look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.
Thank you very much.